All right. Welcome, everyone. It is the regular council meeting of the Arlington City Council, August 6th, 2018, and the time is 6:43. We're starting a few minutes late here. We had to catch up on some reading prior to the meeting. I'm Rich Nagel. I'm the mayor. I'll be presiding at the meeting. And I will call the meeting to order, and would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we'll start with roll call. Councilmember Hattlestead.
Here.
Councilmember Yashewski.
Here.
Councilmember Batchor.
Here.
Councilmember Highland.
Yes.
Councilmember Cowell.
Here.
All council members present. Also at the table on my left is City Administrator Pat Melvin. On my right, City Attorney Ross Arneson. And in the audience this evening, Wendell Terlinden, resident of outside Arlington, but part owner of the Quick Shop at in the gas station area there. And then also Kurt Bank representing the Arlington Enterprise. So with that taken care of, you do have an agenda in front of you, and I would entertain a motion. I should say, is there any additions, corrections, deletions from the agenda? Hearing none, a motion is in order to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Councilmember Yashewski, second by Councilmember Cowell to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Item number 4, the consent agenda. The consent agenda this evening consists of the following items. Item A, approval of the July 2nd council meeting minutes. Item B, approval of July 2nd special workshop meeting minutes. Item C, approval of the July 16th council meeting minutes. And item D, approval of the July 16th special workshop meeting minutes. Also, approval of the bills and accepting the resignation of Shannon Nix, administrative assistant. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve this consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Hattlestead, second by Councilmember Yashewski to approve the consent agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. We'll move on to item number 5, addressing the council. Mr. Terlinden wishes to speak to the council. Wendell, would you come forward, use a microphone, please? And for the record, state your name and address so that we can make sure it's in the minutes. Have a seat, please.
I'm Wendell Terlinden. I belong with my address as residential. It's 254-723 81st Avenue. I am part owner of Quick Shop and Subway down here. And I missed the date or whatever, got confused on the date. I would have probably been here last time. That was the plan. But I see you had discussed here too and denied it. But you know, we had never hooked up that time because everybody enjoyed the fountain pop taste with our water that we had with our own well. It was snubbed up that time, and we decided we didn't do that. And at that time, the city had said we could hook on any time, and there wouldn't have been a fee. But anyhow, with that, they put a meter in the building, and that meters our water enough to know that what we have to pay for sewage. Because of we had our own sewage system too, and when that well or that was snubbed up, that's when the new sewage line got put in, and it took a couple years, but the city had to pump, and we're the only one on the tail end that has to apply our own pump to pump our sewage. So we have to meter our water so we know what sewage is coming, because that gets pumped on the other side of Highway 5. Around by the Hagen Millers and the A&M radiator, and then it goes up toward Hush Co-op and up in there, and then back down to the sewage plant. But with that being said, you know, we had to replaced that pump and stuff 2 times already. And, so that's always our own entity, we have to take care of that ourselves, so I guess I'm just looking at all these expenses that occur. It's something we had to put in, we couldn't keep our own septic, we got billed for water so that you knew what kind of gallons was sewage was coming through. And being that water line was snubbed up there in the beginning, I'm asking that if that could be, waived. You know, and I see it, in the beginning it wasn't, but that's what we got going on with our whole story from way back.
What, where did the $1,300 price come from? Where, you know, the amount of dollars, is that a current charge that they gave you?
I didn't know it was this high.
Okay.
I thought they had said like $1,100 or something, but whatever, I
Okay.
see it's here, it's $1,325.
Yeah, I was just wondering where that number came from.
Evidently it's a new hookup fee.
Okay. Now, you said years ago when you hooked on, they said you could hook up to the water later and there wouldn't be a charge. Do you have anything in writing
No,
that, okay,
no.
all right.
That was snubbed up there just like the sewer was bored over from the other side of 5 that time. And that was kind of all set there and nothing had to be, I mean, they told us we're gonna have to hook up, but it took time. And we finally they made us hook up to that. We couldn't use our own septic system anymore because we were in a residential area. So they changed that. So, okay, fine, we hooked up. And the water that's metered through for sewage, we were paying for, that made us, so we could pay for a sewage bill, so. I don't know, it just seems like, I'm just going by what was said years back, if we wouldn't be the sole owners of the place anymore, other people wouldn't know. I mean, it's a new hookup, which really isn't, it was there for us, but it wouldn't not have been a new hookup, at that time. It would have, but it was a fee that wasn't gonna be charged. So after all these years, we decided our well is giving us trouble. So
Okay.
now we decided to go forward and we're gonna hook up. That's the deal, so.
But-
I have a
Go,
question.
yeah, go
Do you
ahead.
guys pay base rate for water, as you pay for sewage?
Well,
Do you pay like a base rate for water as well? Like since it's snubbed up in there, do you
no,
pay?
they're metering what's going through the meter as far as gallons that go through, that's what they meter us for sewage.
But, so there hasn't been a charge for like water?
No
Like a
base water
base-
charge at
base
all,
water
nothing.
charge.
No.
Not that I know of.
Yeah, the only thing that's on your bill is
Yeah.
sewage.
Sewage charge.
Yep. Okay.
I just wanted to
No,
clarify
that's
that.
fine.
Is there any way we could go back through records to see if it was, and I'm surely not saying that you're telling us a story.
Right. No,
Is there any way we can verify that through documents?
What year was this? How long ago was that done? Do you know?
I was thinking about that today, and I should have done more research on that, but you know what, when that was done, that's probably, 12, 15 years.
So you were the owner already at,
Oh,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah, okay. Okay.
Well, we should have record on when that whack and sack fee was established. Because I don't think that always was. That's only
Yeah.
come about in the last 10 years? Or longer than that, possibly.
I think it's more than 10 years ago. But we didn't always have it, no.
Right. So I mean, if we didn't have it, that would be your would validate that point. If it was in the same.
I'm sure everyone understands what it's about. The WAC is, I think it's a water access charge and the SAC is sewer access charge. And the theory behind it is typically with new construction, a home, a business that didn't exist before, it's kind of a catch-up fee. The idea being that, if they haven't been here and haven't been paying taxes or water or sewer fees, they shouldn't be allowed to just come in for free to the existing infrastructure, the water tower, the sewage treatment plant, the trunk lines, et cetera, that everybody else has already paid for. So it's kind of a buy-in fee for the infrastructure. And it's not peculiar to Arlington. I think just about every community has WAC and SAC charges. So that's what we're talking about.
Well, with that being said, you know, we were taxpayers in the whole 9 yards prior to, so it wasn't like we were in new business. You know, and that's all I'm just coming in for, because it was an existing business, and I know it said for new hookup or whatever. So whatever.
Okay. Well, I suppose we could go back and see what we can find on the city records and see what that reads or what the conditions applied at that time.
That'd be appreciated.
So the question would be, when did we first enact the SAC and WAC fees?
And when the water line
And
was
and
put
when
in.
when did the items that he described, when were they installed?
Okay.
Yeah, water and sewer. And you're thinking back, how many years possibly, what would your guess be?
The last time I was just doing the time on the pump, and I know the one went out in about '09, so they usually lasted about 5 years is the way it's been going. So if we go back five, you
From
know.
'04,
Yeah, somewhere's in there.
yeah. Somewhere prior to,
You know, whatever, like I said, I should have done that myself, and I didn't.
okay. And if you have a quick way of digging into that and find something before our staff has a
I
chance to
don't
find
think we
it.
have any paper
Okay.
work on it, to be
Okay.
honest with you, because the pump, you know, that they had, the city had that was up in the waste department's hands up there. They were in that shed for a couple years before they actually got down here to hook it up.
Okay,
So whatever year this work was all done down there with the city stuff, that finally got hooked up, so, you know, we didn't have to buy that pump. That was given to us, but then it was up to us to donate it, or to maintain it.
maintain it and replace it if needed, yeah.
And, you know, and that's, we're like the other ones now that are down on the other end, that have their own well. My understanding is their sewage flows to the station,
Right,
where we had.
you were sitting low and you had to
Yeah, we had to
use
use
it
this
to pump it up.
So that's what I'm after, you know, we got a couple of different entities that we're trying to keep going and then have a fee to go again.
Sure, sure. Okay. Any other comments or questions of Mr. Terlinden? If not, thank you, and we will dig into it a little bit and come up with an answer one way or the other for you. Okay, thank you.
very much.
Thanks, Wendell.
Thank you.
Thanks, Wendell.
Okay, moving on to item number 6, announcements.
First item that we have is the Arlington Night Out coming up on Tuesday, August 7th. That'll be at Four Seasons Park from 5 to 7:30 p.m. The police department, I think, has some different activities planned for that evening. Item B, the farmers market is continuing through September 24th from 4 to 6:30 p.m. here at the Arlington Community Center West parking lot. Item C, the Semstone Sibley County Open House, which was previously postponed, is scheduled for August 16th from 10:30 to 2 at their new location here on 1108 Circle Drive in Arlington. The Sibley County wanted to make us aware they have enrichment programs that are available to businesses. They will provide 2 hours of technology help for $10. If interested, businesses or individuals should contact Lillian at 507-237-4050 or Lillian at co.sibley.mn.us, and Lillian is spelled Lillian Last announcement is that the city offices will be closed on Monday, September 3rd for Labor Day. Likewise, the council meeting will also be pushed out to the next day on Tuesday, September 4th.
Okay, any questions on the announcements? Move right on to communications.
Council members, we received an notification from the Minnesota Public Utilities Commission that there will be a hearing scheduled for Thursday, August 2nd, which is already passed, regarding power companies and their ability to purchase potential power. But like I mentioned, it appears that that meeting has since passed. So I apologize for late notice on that. Then moving on to the second item, received a letter from MediaCom announcing that their rates will be increasing on September 1st, 2018. Included in your packet is a listing of what the old rate was and what MediaCom is proposing for their new rates.
All right, any questions on the MediaCom issue? Hearing none, move on to reports. Item number 8, Maintenance Department. Dan Kirby just stepped out for a minute. So we'll move on to 9 and come back to Kirby's. Update on open meeting law, Attorney Arneson.
The council should have received an email with some material, but just as a brief refresher, the purpose of the open meeting law is to ensure that public elected bodies that set policy make known to the voters that meetings are taking place, so the voters can at a minimum listen in or perhaps provide input in the conduct of that public business. I think basic rules are always well understood, that if there's a scheduled council meeting, that there's a requirement for notice to be posted and that the meeting itself be open to the public. There are 3 exceptions to that rule. One is where employee discipline is being discussed, and that's to avoid any, situation where perhaps it's determined that an employee's conduct was not inappropriate, and so the whole discussion then remains confidential, so there's no unnecessary damage to someone's reputation. If, on the other hand, the council finds that there is an issue and employee discipline is imposed, that discipline becomes a public record. An employee can request that the meeting be open, and if they make that request in writing, that's up to the employee, and then the meeting would be open to the public. Second exception is contract negotiations, so that the city is not put in a disadvantage in negotiation. The council is allowed to have a quorum in a closed session to discuss the situation and reach some negotiating tactics. And the theory behind that is then that benefits the taxpayers because the council in essence doesn't have to show its cards to the opposite party that they're negotiating with. This comes up when council is negotiating to sell land. Perhaps there's some negotiation involved in a city contract of some kind. The third exception is lawsuits and claims. It's basically the attorney exception where the council can get the advice of the city attorney in a closed session. And it sort of is similar to the negotiation exception where strategy can be discussed in a closed meeting without revealing that strategy to the other side. that strategy might include negotiation in the sense of what the council might be willing to put forward to settle a case. Okay, there are two other related issues that can get touchy. One is the gathering of a quorum in some context outside of an official council meeting, such as a community event. And I've always said the same thing on this subject, that if a quorum of the council, 3 or more persons, happens to find themselves at the same anniversary party or funeral wake, it doesn't mean that one of them has to jump out the nearest window. What it means is that you want to conduct yourselves at that public gathering in such a way that there's no suspicion raised that you're possibly discussing city business. As an example, where, let's say, 3 or 4 councilmen gather over in a corner and have an intense discussion for a half hour. That doesn't look good to the public. It could be asking for someone to make a complaint to the Attorney General's office that the law was being violated. And that's even though maybe you're just discussing sports. So the moral of that story is don't clump together, circulate around the room. If several councilmen are gathered in one place, make sure you have some people other than councilmen also involved in the discussion, so you have some witnesses that city business was not being discussed. A couple of side issues there. That rule means that you can't, for example, carpool anymore if that means a quorum in one vehicle. So 3 council persons carpooling to an event or a meeting or an education seminar, a League of Cities meeting, that's a no-no. You can't do that anymore. One thing that went by the wayside, sadly, many, many years ago, we always had a council Christmas party. And we'd choose some, restaurant in some other town quite often and have a very nice social event. Can't do that anymore. I guess the idea is, again, 3 or more council persons can be at the same non-council event. You just have to be careful of your conduct at that event. The other side issue is electronic communication. And I did attach to my email a couple of other sources, the League of Cities memo, and then our city policy on electronic communication. And the caution there is that with the technology that we have nowadays, you can easily conduct a meeting and decide city policy over the internet. And so you have to be very cautious about that. And the basic approach should be that the internet be used only to gather information, not to discuss policy or your views on anything. And the information sharing should always come through the city office. So it's typically going to take the form of Pat or his staff sending an email out to the council saying, "Council, a question arose at the last meeting. Here now is the information on that question," or "This is the result of our research." And so they're just providing information to you to consider prior to the next publicly announced meeting. Council persons can share information between themselves, but you have to be very cautious about how that is done. I generally don't recommend it. The best practice would be, if you have some information you'd like to share with the rest of the council, you email it to Pat. Let him distribute it, okay? Because there's always that danger that, and what we have to guard against is the chain email meeting, okay? So councilperson A sends some information to councilperson B. They have a reaction to it. They send an email back to A saying, "Oh yeah, thanks for the information. This is what I think about that," okay? So then A passes it on to C, and pretty soon you got the whole council involved in an email discussion. that is a violation of the open meeting law, okay? So, questions on any of that?
It seems like the illustration of, you know, getting together at a social event or whatever, it's as much perception of an
Yeah.
outside person
Exactly.
seeing a group of you. They don't even have to hear anything,
Right,
but it's a perception they get.
right, right.
Ross, can you just share a little information about the posting requirements for meetings?
Well, unless there's an emergency, a real emergency, like, you know, a tornado just flattened our water tower, you know, something like that. There are certain notice requirements, and I think the typical council meeting requirement is 3 days advance posted notice. And that has to be at some place, well, like the bulletin board in the council chambers, where notices are normally published. And of course, with the modern media, posted on the city website.
Thank you.
Where are meetings posted in the city? Where are the locations?
We currently post them right outside the administration department here at the community center. We also post them at the post office and then at the Arlington library.
Okay.
So 3 locations, as well as typically putting something into the website.
Yeah, the idea of the posting requirement is that you do make known to the general public in some reasonable way when a meeting is being held. So,
Any questions?
Thank you, Ross.
Thank you very much.
sure.
Update is always appreciated. Okay, at this time, we'll move back to item number 8, Maintenance Department update. Kirby, would you come forward, please?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Sorry I ran back to the shop because I forgot a pamphlet that I wanted to share with you guys tonight for one of the street bids. I don't know if now would be the time to pass that around and talk about it, or should I wait till that bid is up? It's about the manhole bid.
If you're gonna be here for the rest of the meeting, probably be
I can
more
wait.
Pertinent until we
Okay.
come up to it on the
I'll wait for
agenda.
that.
Yep,
Sure.
yep.
All right. Okay, well, getting into it, since the last time I was in, we've been, finally had a dry enough spell to get weed spraying done in the streets, in the parks. Worked a lot on that. Got some sign business finished around the school. We got those finally posted and done. The no parking sign during school days, 7:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Those are all finally up on all the spots that we had picked out. Mosquito spraying a handful of times in July. And trying to get some street work accomplished, which tonight we got quotes to get our pavers fixed uptown. Main Street pavers reset, where we have trip hazards. A couple of manholes that are sunken real bad in the roads. I want to attack a couple of those, hopefully. And what else was on there? Possibly getting a drain tile put in over here on one of our dead end streets that keeps flooding out a driveway at DAC. And getting a couple catch basins fixed up that are collapsing inside, that I know have been on the docket for a couple of years now. And along with that, some water valve boxes that are in the street. We had a lot of people calling those in the spring that got busted up probably during plowing, and the castings break from that, so you gotta dig it up, replace the casting, and get those repaired. We have 7 of those to get done. Other than that, we had a streets committee, or a community center committee meeting, in which a lot of minor improvements were kind of pointed out in the building and around the building, and Mike Williamson has been attacking a lot of that, and we're close to wrapping up a lot of that work. Other than that, just keeping up with everything else. We're preparing for Arlington Night Out tomorrow night in Four Seasons Park, so we've been getting that dressed up and looking nice, and the tables out and the chairs and everything. With that too, the cameras just got installed. That's finished today at the Lions Center. Working with Chief John Pedersen on that, so those are installed, and I'm pretty sure he has all his equipment inside, and it's recording as of this moment. So
Okay. So where is that, where do you view what is being photographed?
I think basically around the building it's a 360 view,
Okay,
and I haven't seen it, so I don't know how far the distance goes as far as how clear the clarity of it. But we also talked about getting one or two on the looking at the park and or inside of the shelter. I guess we're waiting on that. John was gonna see if he could get a wireless camera that could just be wired, so we don't gotta dig up the sidewalk under the building and stuff like that.
so does this record onto a jump drive, or does it record on, or do you
Well,
view
it's
it on
not-
your phone, or where do you?
No, actually, it's
Where do you monitor
we
it?
had a cabinet built that Neusmeyer actually took time to build for us. Everything's on site,
Okay.
so the software, the computer, the mouse, the keyboard, everything is locked up in our electrical closet
At the Lions Center?
At the Lions Center.
Okay. Okay.
So if anything happens, I guess you go up there and you
There
go in the electrical closet,
Okay.
open up the cabinet that it's locked away in, and
Okay.
you can view everything from right there. And nobody should be able to get into that cabinet except for city workers. There's no keys distributed to get into that electrical closet. So it's
Yeah.
locked in there, and then also it's locked inside of there in a cabinet too. So
Pretty secure.
it's pretty secure, yeah. I guess that's kind of the gist of what I had tonight.
While we're on the Lions Center, is that one door needs to be replaced? Women's restroom?
Yep, and I had spoken to the company that was doing the ambulance doors this spring.
Yeah, that would be
And
great.
he stopped by, it was the same measurement pretty much. It never went any farther than that. He was gonna get back to me, or,
Okay, you haven't
he
heard
knew
back
about
from-
it. I haven't heard back. I suppose I should touch
Could
base
you
with him again.
follow up on
Yeah.
that? All right. Questions from the council for Maintenance Supervisor Whitworth? I hear none.
I just have a question about the chairs for the over 60 group. Heidi said something about a tent that somebody was gonna put up. I don't know, was it a fire truck, fireman?
Okay. Yeah, we didn't know anything about that. We have the chairs.
Pardon?
We have the chairs ready to
Okay.
put up.
The band is good about cleaning up after themselves. If you could if a trailer could be close by to get the chairs, would be happy to put them on there for you.
Okay, is the Lions Center open tomorrow night?
It should be open, yeah,
Should
because
be.
I think the
Could you put
Lions
them in
are,
the Lions Center? And then we can, so they don't sit out all night
No?
outside. We can pick them up in the Lions Center, in the building.
yeah, I think the Lions are serving food out there inside, or
Okay.
floats or something. but
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
As far as I know, it'll be open.
yeah, I guess I'd prefer if they could stay inside all night. No.
We wanna make it as easy for you as we can,
Appreciate that. Yeah, oh, that'd be great, yeah.
because everybody wants you.
Yeah, that'd be great if you guys could get them in the Lions Center. And that way they're out of sight, out of mind for people taking or destroying or something like that.
But if they do, we'll catch them on the camera.
We got them on camera. Yeah, maybe we can leave them outside, huh?
Yeah,
Let's
Well,
test
check
the,
how good the
test the
camera is.
cameras out, yeah.
I could put a outfit on so I look like Pat and I can go out and take a couple of them.
But yeah, no, if you can
Yeah, no,
carry them in there, that'd be great.
yeah.
Thanks,
we'll-
Ben.
we'll get it
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I'd just like to bring up one other subject, and maybe Kirby can have a little input on it, but at our last meeting, it was brought up about a dog park. And, I don't wanna see the thing die the death of lack of enthusiasm, so, in number one, I don't think we have a committee started, or would it go to the Park and Recs, or where would it go to kinda build it up? And then maybe in your travels, you might be able to recommend a spot or an area that would be suitable, you know, for a dog park, and where an area could be fenced in that would be accessible and pet friendly and people
Okay.
friendly.
Just to update me on that, is it, that got passed, or that's,
Just.
No.
It was
it's just
just
in
a
discussion yet?
Presentation
Okay.
made by a few people.
Okay, so you'd like, an idea where,
Yeah.
a good
Yeah.
spot,
Where to
Right.
start.
okay?
Mhm.
And I don't know, like I say, is this something that the
I think the Parks
Park
Committee,
Commission should?
I really
should
think that would be
looking
a
at
place
it?
to start. And, I know they had, I think they had mentioned, the two people that presented mentioned too, about getting a citizens committee or some citizen representation together with maybe Parks Committee representation to come up with a plan,
Okay,
a place and a plan and a how we gonna do it type thing.
okay.
I think they're willing to, you know, to really get involved with it, it seems, as far as those that signed were there over 200 people, or around 200? That signed interest, I'm not gonna call it a petition, that doesn't sound very appropriate, but it was just a, yeah, we're in favor of it type document, so.
Okay,
It'd be
So
fun if
maybe
if the group that would be interested in having the dog park could maybe do some kind of fundraisers or something, cause I know the chain link fence isn't gonna be cheap to, you know, to put up to contain the people inside the dog park. I'm not worried about the dogs, it's the people I'm worried about. So, but anyhow, when your travels in the city, keep in mind a spot that might work out.
I know, just a related point, I had heard on radio within the last month that Lake Crystal City Council just approved getting, you know, putting a dog park together. And they estimated it would cost $20,000, but they're expecting to get it all from donations, nothing
Nice.
from the city.
Cool.
So, grants, you know, grants and
Yeah.
private donations,
That'd
that
be
type
great.
of thing.
I think it'd be a great addition.
I'd like us to look at that same philosophy of, you know, getting private donations, fundraisers, grants, whatever, to put it all together.
Kirby, I'm sure that we can get some sample policies even from the League of Minnesota Cities, or I think the city of Hutchinson, within the past year or so, also had a request for a dog park, so. And I think there was, some public funding, fundraisers that they held to assist with that cost, so I think there are a lot of resources, and I'd be happy to contact League of Minnesota Cities and share any policy that they have with you.
okay,
So,
sounds good.
so probably bring it up at the next Parks meeting you attend,
Sure.
and get the seed planted with them and see what their reaction is. Anything else for Kirby?
Kirby,
Thank
do
you for getting the signs up at the fire department, the no parking signs.
You're welcome. I apologize that took longer than it should have, but they are up now, and we're looking to still make a spot in front of Methodist Church, parking spot, by moving the farthest east sign farther to the west. And I spoke with John Zaski about that, and he's
Okay,
totally cool with it. Plenty of room to move it over yet, so they can at least have another parking spot.
Great.
But they're both up for now, so that's the main thing. So,
There's one thing, maybe just make a note, I stopped at the ambulance fire department building the other day, and I looked at how they're, you know, fixing patching the cement in by the one overhead door. I noticed that the fire department doors all have 3x3 angle iron covering the brick on each side.
Okay.
Ambulance doesn't.
Like a bumper, yeah,
I'm wondering if we could maybe try and incorporate
sure,
3x3 angle iron on the ambulance doors also.
yeah,
Because those corners are getting a little chewed up.
that's a great idea.
And that would not only cover up the damage that's already there, but protect it from happening.
Okay,
So, okay?
yep, sounds good.
And maybe just one, Kirby initially had the Parks Committee scheduled for Wednesday evening. If you want to just give an update on that, Kirby?
Yeah, so it sounds like it's moved now to
To
Thursday,
Thursday,
the next
Thursday
day. We
at
had a
6.
couple, members who were pretty integral to the Parks Committee who have other obligations that night that they have to be at. So we got that moved.
So it's Thursday.
Next Thursday.
Okay, anything else for Kirby? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Is Kirby gonna stick around for the other items on the?
Yeah, you're
drain?
gonna stick around for the,
Yeah.
those bids that came in on various? Okay, sure, sure. Okay. Move back to item number 10 then, under reports, and update on the City of Arlington 2019 Certified Local Government Aid.
Council members, I just wanted to provide you with a quick update. As we were talking earlier this evening about some of the funding challenges, the good news that I do have is that our local government aid is not being reduced for 2019. So in 2018, we received a total of $748,914 through local government aid. For 2019, we are scheduled to receive $750,127. I also included in the handout in your council packet an explanation as to how they arrive at that amount. There's a number of different variables, and I did not think I would do justice, so if you want to get into it, you can go right to it. But pleased to announce that we're actually getting a little bit of an increase. We typically get our payments 2 times throughout the year, in July and December, and sometimes the number fluctuates a little bit less or a little bit more. So that's the good news for our upcoming budget. Stay tuned for more. Good news, I hope.
Well, looking at the formulas, it kinda looks like it's done behind black curtains with strings and mirrors.
Isn't that the way most of it is done?
It is.
Presumably, population-based though. I mean, comes off of the,
And it's not guaranteed,
No.
but I'm glad we're getting it.
I'm grateful for every dollar we get
That's right.
from St. Paul and other places.
Okay, we'll move on to ordinances and resolutions. We have item number 11, a resolution in regard to the local resolution supporting application to Business Development Public Infrastructure Program, better known as BDPI.
Council members, in front of you is a resolution for supporting the city's application for a grant for public infrastructure application. What we're looking to do is we're looking to request assistance from the state in terms of bringing utilities to the proposed business that is coming to town. So that parcel that is located on the southeast side of the city, southwest side of the city below the storage facility there. Ninkasi has indicated an interest in moving ahead. They have been in discussion with Attorney Ross Arneson regarding a purchase agreement and are doing, working out other details to move ahead with acquiring that piece of property for building a proposed hops production facility. What we are doing is looking at extending sewer and water to the site. Working with Jason Femright from Bolton and Mink, we have concluded that the cost to do so would be in the ballpark of about $224,850.
State that again.
The cost to bring utilities to the property would be $224,850. And what the city is looking to do is looking to have deed pay 1/2 of those costs. So the number has gone up slightly from what was initially proposed because Jason has taken a look at some of the construction costs and things that are happening in the new year. So that's where some of you may see that number as being a little higher than it previously
Yeah.
was proposed to us at 180
Right.
or 160,000.
160,
back.
160.
Yeah, a short while back, so,
Well, it looks like quite a long run from, to put the utilities in. You know, almost from the, new Kraft Cabinet property all the way out to short of County Road 9.
The sewer line.
correct, yep.
Is that the sewer line or is that the water line?
That's the sewer
Sewer.
line, I believe.
Water is coming from the other direction?
From the north.
From the north, okay.
Water's coming from the north.
Okay.
That's about half the distance of the line compared to the sewer line.
Mhm.
We can't get sewer from that area?
I guess not. I don't know if it isn't sized adequately or what, or I really don't know.
Okay.
Could be a height issue too, as far as slope.
I know that we will have to have a lift station for the sewer portion there to make that flow.
Is that included in that 224,000?
Correct, yep.
I'd like to introduce, resolution, 52, 2018, in support of, business development, public infrastructure application.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Resolution was introduced by Councilmember Batchor, second by Councilmember Hattlestead, and that resolution is number 52-2018, and it's a resolution in support of a business development public infrastructure application. Are there further questions? If not, we'll vote by roll call. Councilmember Hattlestead.
Yes.
Councilmember Cowell.
Yes.
Councilmember Yashewski.
Yes.
Councilmember Highland.
Yes.
Councilmember Batchor.
Yes,
All in favor, none opposed, the resolution is adopted. All right, moving on to unfinished business, item 12, approve or deny additional payment to Jewel Contracting.
Council members, we have been dealing with this issue for some time, dating back to earlier work that Jewel Contracting did out at the Sibley County Fairgrounds with installing a water meter. There was some discrepancy between what was initially quoted and what the actual work ended up being, almost doubling the initial bill. We've had numerous discussions with Jewel. We've involved various council members and attorney Ross Arneson in that, and we are hoping that we are able to settle that outstanding bill. We have paid the initial amount, which was quoted to us, of $8,720, and now I am asking for your consideration in paying an additional $812.95 based on having to replace lead fittings that were involved in the project. So that will, hopefully, that will be the solution to this outstanding bill if we do pay that remaining $812.95.
So we're free and clear of that, the excess they charged above the bid if we pay $812.95. They're gonna eat the, whatever the rest was, 7,000.
I think the rest is between them and People Service to
Okay,
hash over,
Okay,
is what it amounts to. That's
So
my
we already
understanding.
paid the 8,000.
the initial bid,
The initial bid,
Yeah, we did that
yeah.
yeah.
a couple weeks ago, a couple
Yep.
meetings ago. Yeah, I'd make a motion to approve the payment of $812.95 to Jewel Contracting Incorporated for replacement of lead fittings during the water meter replacement at the Sibley County Fairgrounds.
Second.
Okay, motion was made by Councilmember Highland, second by Councilmember Batchor, to make the payment to Jewel Contracting in the amount of $812.95. Description of it is in front of you. Any questions on the motion? Any-
Mr. Mayor, if I might.
Yes, yes.
One underlying issue, as the council recalls, we had negotiation with the Fair Board, that they were gonna split the bill with us. And since, this was a required code change, once they determined there was lead fittings there, that we should perhaps also consider whether half of this amount should also be
Very good point.
passed to the Fair Board.
Very good point,
Yeah. well,
I'd agree with that.
I think. Okay. Councilmember Highland, would you amend the motion
amend the
by
motion
cutting
that
that,
the,
cutting an amount in half?
Right, that we send the bill or split the cost with the Fair Board.
Okay, how do we want to approach this? Do we just authorize paying for half of it and let the Fair Board authorize the other half? Or do we pay the whole amount and bill them for the half?
Yes.
First one or second one? I
I'd
think
say
it'd be
this-
probably cleaner if we pay the whole amount and bill them
That's what I was gonna
for the-
suggest.
for their half, yeah. Okay, then the motion would stand as is.
Second.
With the amendment that
With-
the,
With the amendment.
that we build a Fair Board for half
Bill the
of
Fair Board for half of the amount.
$406.48.
400 and whatever. Okay, everyone understand the motion? All in favor say yes. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried.
Next item is regarding our fire alarm upgrade project, which was just recently completed. I am asking the council to modify what they had previously approved on July 2nd, 2018. At that time, there was an agreement for the city to spend up to $11,100 to replace the fire alarm system. We did note that not included with that was a monitoring service. So we figured that that would then be covered with that higher number. However, when we did go back to Summit Companies, their total bill came to $11,261, and it does include the monitoring. So I'm looking, I guess, to Ross for advice as to whether or not the previous motion should be revised or changed, or if we should just approve the additional amount here this evening for,
So the original amount was 11,100,
correct.
Well,
and
just,
so
yeah,
now it's 11,261, so it'd be
$161.
$161 difference.
I
Correct.
can just make a motion to approve Summit Company's revised fire alarm project to include monitoring fees for a total of $11,261.
Second.
Okay. Motion by Councilmember Batchor, second by Councilmember Cowell, to approve the updated alarm upgrade cost to include the monitoring fee of $261 for a total of $11,261. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried.
So on that topic, is there like, so when we set a top number, you can't spend over at all, or is there wiggle room?
Well, he's been given authority from the council to spend up to a certain amount.
35.
But I'd say that's per project. And so I don't think that's the intent of that authorization to say, well, you can write another check for $261 on this larger contract because we're a little short. I think it has to come back to the council.
Okay.
The upper limit that the council establishes is pretty firm, it's firm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So in the future, I mean, maybe we should be a little bit more,
Lenient, or
well,
add
yeah,
a little bit more.
add a little bit more, just,
A little more wiggle
not a
room.
lot, but, I mean, just a little bump, maybe.
I think we keep a tight rein on him.
Well, and I will say it's
Well,
my,
$261, I mean, and now we're 2 weeks later,
yeah.
Right.
you know,
It's my hope in the future that we can get some of these contracts and different things to Ross before versus after. But just with the issues going on in the office, we've had a tough time staying on top of that. So in the future, having Ross look at it beforehand and identifying some of these issues up front will allow us to come to you with a final number.
Pat, I was just wondering on the new alarm system, is there gonna be, can the police department monitor anything that's going on in here, or would they have access, or is
well,
it just?
automatically sends, I mean, it's the system, so when an alarm goes off, they're notified through the
Right.
alarm system. It's just like ADT or anybody else, right, that
They'll
you
get
have.
They'll get a phone call along with the fire department. Fire
Okay.
department gets a phone call.
So typically,
And so does our, on-call phone.
yeah, I was just gonna
City
say,
on-call.
like, one of you guys would get the phone call
Yeah.
first to make sure that it's actually an
If it's-
emergency.
Well, we get it, they only get it if it's a fire alarm.
Mhm.
There's other alarms that can go off
Right.
that aren't as emergency, as we call it. And
Well,
we
something,
can call them-
a door or anything, right, so entrance or,
Yeah, and, I mean, we can even come in at night, troubleshoot, shut it off. So,
Just, one is an annual, that'll be an annual monitoring fee?
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first year of it, but it'll be annual thereafter. Okay. All right, moving on to new business. Item 14, approve or deny Community Center Committee's recommendation to revise the fee schedule in regard to the Sunday room rental rate.
Council members, we have, the next 3 items are actually all recommendations that are coming out of the, community center meeting, which Kirby, shared a little information about. The first item is to go ahead and revise the fee schedule by adding a Sunday room rental for $150 for one room and the kitchen at the community center. A lot of these, these motions that are being proposed are in an effort to increase use of the community center. Obviously, we've had some less business because a lot of people are craving to go to the barns right now for weddings and different events. So we're trying to come up with some ideas as to how we can make our facility more appealing, and one of those is by maybe offering some different rate deals. This is one of them.
but a Sunday?
There, yeah.
Sunday,
Just,
we-
yeah,
Sunday.
but I mean, if the desire is to attract more people to rent, why are we just doing a Sunday discount?
Well,
Why
then-
don't we do,
I think because Sunday was, that was probably the slowest day.
Less likely to
Less
get rented.
likely.
I think it was kind of maybe an effort just to see how it would work. If it would draw interest, we could always adjust maybe Monday through Thursday too. I think that was brought up a little bit, but I think it was just to get it started and see if this would draw any interest.
And especially there's a kitchen facility included in it,
Right.
Yeah.
which would make it in some ways more attractive probably than the Lions Center.
That's a pretty good deal, is the room in the kitchen for $150.
That's not bad.
You wanna have an anniversary or something, that's pretty
Mhm.
darn reasonable.
Right.
Well, I talked with Pat about this a while ago, and I thought that we look kind of shady, that's maybe not a good word, nickel and diming every little item and naming each item. Why not put a package together for $100? You get this room, and you get the kitchen, you get to
Yeah.
wash the dishes, you get, let's put it all together and make it look like and maybe even reduce the price a little bit so that they get a deal, not nickel dime it.
Right.
People, I've heard nothing but complaints about, and we're seeing the results of that by not getting the room rentals that were,
So you're agreeing that this is a step in the right direction,
I'm agreeing
huh?
that this is a step, but maybe there's room for more
For
discussion.
more discussion on that, okay. Okay, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve community center committee's recommendation to revise the fee schedule by adding Sunday room rental for $150 for one room and kitchen at the community center.
I'll second it.
Okay, you've all heard the motion regarding the increase in the Sunday room rental. Is there any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Item 15, another community center committee recommendation, and it's revising the fee schedule, dealing with the commercial kitchen rental.
Along those same lines here, they are looking to rent the community center commercial kitchen for a rate of $100 from 8 a.m. to 12 midnight for $100. That would be for the kitchen only.
And that's for the caterer?
No, it's just for, like, if somebody, with the new cottage law, if somebody, some stuff has to be made in a commercial kitchen,
Sure.
and there's not commercial kitchen available very many places,
Right.
and we don't have anything, so.
Yep. It may be one of the vendors from the farmer's market, it may, who knows? Could be on.
From 8 a.m., so it's for all day?
Mhm.
If somebody wanted to come
Or
in the
period
morning or
thereof.
later.
Or a period, yeah, between those hours.
Obviously,
So
that'd be,
isn't that already that?
I don't think
The kitchen use fee, full $100 per event?
that's for an event though. This is just if somebody wants to use
Just
the
the
kitchen.
Kitchen use fee,
Only,
oh,
yeah.
so that's an
Kitchen only.
add-on?
Kitchen only, yeah.
Kitchen only, they aren't renting anything else, they're just gonna use the kitchen.
Right.
Sure. Right.
I'll make a motion to approve community center committee's recommendation to revise wrong one. No, I'm right. Fee schedule by adding community center commercial kitchen rental rate of $100 from 8 a.m. to 12 midnight.
I'll second that.
Motion by Councilmember Cowell, second by Councilmember Hattlestead to approve the community center committee recommendation to revise the fee schedule, and that's regarding the kitchen rental rate, $100 from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., or to 12 midnight. Any further questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Item 16, approve, deny community center committee's recommendation to waive the community center rental fee for fundraising events for organizations that have a budget with the city.
This,
So,
go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, they still pay the cleaning fee?
Are we talking about the previous motion?
No.
Oh, you're talking
This
about the
one.
one that's, okay.
This one.
Yes, no.
No, I think that was
No.
No.
waived because that was
It was
part
waived
of
too.
the rental rate was the cleaning fee.
So it's waiving all fees, cleaning
Mhm.
fee and rental
Yeah,
fee?
because the majority of the ones that would be renting it, well, the fire department and the ambulance would be pretty much the only, I don't think the police department ever rented, but fire department and ambulance, and what they're using it for is their relief fund, which especially the fire department uses most of their relief money to help us out. So I mean, if we have to spend a couple $100 once a year, maybe twice a year, it's probably worth it. And there's been some negative, they've been going other places because of
Yep.
for cheaper, and there's been some negative perception on the city for not allowing them to use it.
No, I was just questioning that.
Sure.
So the budget with the city would basically be the ambulance and the fire department.
And the
Right.
And the
police.
police if they
Police.
chose.
Yeah, if they wanted a room or
would be
something
that.
for an event, yeah.
But
you know.
not the hospital.
Right.
Right.
That's correct. That's kind of why we put it
They-
that
they-
way.
The
yeah,
budget with the city.
They don't
Yes.
have.
I mean, because they're ultimately raising money to help us pay for things. I mean, that otherwise we'd have to pay full for.
I'll make a motion to approve the community center committee's recommendation to waive the community center rental fee for fundraising events for organizations that have a budget with the city.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Hattlestead, second by Councilmember Batchor to approve the recommendation to waive the rental fee for fundraising events for organizations that have a budget with the city. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried.
I have a question regarding the committee and these recommendations. Has any thought ever been given to discounts for citizens to rent the facility
It wasn't brought up, but it,
Versus
It's sure.
non-residents.
versus
Oh,
non-resident, a
residents
resident
versus
rate?
non-residents?
right. Well, we had the first meeting in 2 years. So,
Yeah.
Okay.
so yeah.
Well, I just thought I'd ask if that was brought up or not.
it was
That-
not yet, but I think we're planning to have another meeting here in the next couple of months.
Yeah.
so.
Mhm.
Well, you got a lot done there.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that'll help. I just, all of us that live in town are paying,
Right.
tax building, and to have to pay full price, for it versus somebody from out of town. I think if there was some kind of break there, that might at least maybe spark something.
And Adam, if you could, later when we have reports of meetings, just maybe go over a few other
Oh,
things
yeah.
that we looked at that meeting.
Yep.
Okay, item 17, approve or deny cleaning of the TSC building.
Council members, as some of you are aware, there are some issues with the TSC building. And so I did obtain some quotes here from several different groups, one of which is Service Master. They came in and took a look at the situation, and they would like to do some different testing. Basically what we have is we have some growth in the carpet, and so it's something that we haven't had in the past, and I'm not sure exactly what the cause of it was, if it's the water that came up through the cement in our wet summer that we've had, but we're proposing to deal with the situation. Service Master was one that gave us a quote. Legacy Services Corporation is another one, and then Sparkling Clean Professional Cleaning Services. The one that I am recommending that you proceed with is the Legacy Services Corporation. It was recommended by our insurance adjuster who looked at the situation. We do not have a claim there, but basically what it would involve is bringing in a team to sanitize and scrub the carpet, and then work with some of the air quality issues within the building. So my proposal is to have someone come in, clean the carpet, and then to purchase some dehumidifiers and some fans and just get the air movement happening in that building. Because it's a building that sits shut down 24/7, there's not a whole lot of air movement happening in there. And I think a building that isn't being used is just very, very difficult on the overall cooling system and the airflow. So again, I'm proposing to go with Legacy at a quote of $8,200. Their proposal is in your council packet, and I think that they would do a good job of getting that building clean, and certainly will be honest with individuals, looking to let them know that we have had this issue, and hope that we can get cleaned up and, back on the market, for sale to somebody.
What would it cost to rip the carpeting out of there?
I would guess it would be quite expensive. There is, it's a maze is basically what it is. It's got carpet coming up on the side of the walls, similar to what you see right here, and a number of different rooms throughout there. That is certainly an option to just simply remove the carpet and then you have a building with cement floors that, you know, who knows what somebody who's interested in that building is coming in there with. They may value the cement floors versus the carpet. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a shot in the dark, you don't.
Yeah,
And you know, God knows how long that carpet's been in there and what's living in there and, you know, $8,000 sounds like a lot of money, but it's a lot of carpet to clean too.
It get on the walls some too, didn't it?
in
So we still have
few
walls
areas.
to clean.
They will be cleaning down, wiping down,
Everything.
sanitizing. You know, in discussion with Service Master, they were actually gonna be wiping down the ceiling. And their estimate was really dependent upon what they found out when they did a test, which, in my opinion, it doesn't matter what it is there, it needs to be cleaned.
It's gotta be cleaned up.
And, I think that, you know, for 8,000, I think Service Master is looking at a number of, you know, 30 to 40 ballpark, but they won't know until they conduct that pre-test to say what it is, and then they'll. tell
Well,
you
we're gonna
what
have to
that's-
clean the walls up.
You're gonna have to clean the walls and the ceiling, something in the ceiling.
It's gotta be done.
Yep.
And whether we clean the mold out of the carpet or have them rip the carpet up, throw it away and haul it to a site somewhere. It's gonna cost us either way.
Could we burn it out at the compost?
Kirby's here.
I know some of you probably do that for you if you want the liability. But, yeah, when you deduct what's in clean the walls off, well, I wonder if it's gonna, whether we have the carpet cleaned or have it tore out and disposed of, it probably the same number.
Well,
And this way, at least we have carpet left.
Yeah,
I think the building is more desirable if it was to go into an office setting with carpet
Yeah.
versus no. We don't wanna hurt our chance of selling that building.
Right.
Because we aren't having success. So let's say it cost us $1,500 to keep the carpet there. I think we'd be well advised to keep the carpet there. I think in the long haul, it's gotta be a little bit of an asset.
I don't know.
my
I think-
biggest fear is that the air quality issue is not taken care of and it gets moldy again.
Mhm.
Well, we're gonna have to keep air moving in that building and the doors opened once in a
Well,
while.
and there is air conditioning
Yeah.
in there, so we have to keep it
But
all.
apparently that's
all
maybe.
working.
Yeah. But didn't that air conditioner go down for a while?
Kirby, you can shed some light on that.
The air conditioning was working, there was a thermostat, didn't have, I thought it was hardwired, but it was actually just running on batteries, so it must have been replaced once upon a time. There was no common need to do it anymore. The batteries were dead for a while, but that wasn't even in a room that had very much mold. But, would like to add, I've been in that building when it's 85 degrees out and humid, and there's spots in those rooms that the temp is lower than what we have the air set at. So I think it's so, it just holds,
Wait.
it's temp so well in there, it's so sealed off, it's an old milk house,
Yeah.
I mean, it's got brick,
There's no air movement in there.
so.
Get rid of the carpet.
So after the mold, I turned the fans on instead of having it on auto, so it just, I don't think the air was moving that much, even when it's.
Okay, so fans are running all the time now,
They're running all the
and then
time.
the air conditioner just kicks in when
Yeah,
needed.
see, it was on auto before, I think
Oh, okay,
it's so damp and moist that,
yeah,
I've been in there where you think the AC should be running and it's 71
Since,
Middle of the day, 85 degrees.
since we first discovered the issue 3 weeks ago, a month ago, whatever it was, and since everything's working properly, has it gotten any worse? And the reason I ask that is if the mold hasn't gotten worse, then what you're doing is probably working.
When I met with the state guy, what was he? He was the claims adjuster or whatever. He too said, the air movement, you need dehumidifiers. And I'm wondering if this happened during a really wet stretch we had. I don't know if the cement's wet underneath the carpet. Me and Mike were so busy running around, we hadn't probably checked it in a month. I mean, we try to keep a regular, we're in, okay, everything's working. Lost sight for a while.
It probably started in that June, middle of June thing when that
Definitely.
heavy rain.
I turned the AC on in late May or early June.
Can we get some just big box fans in there in a couple rooms to move the air? Or?
Oh, yeah.
There's a couple of hallways where it would be ideal to put a fan, yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to get some good capacity fans to keep moving air in there.
But either way, we gotta clean it up. Cause we can't even show it the way it is
No.
now.
What about the items that are in there? There's some furniture in there. Is that all gonna be wiped down too, or?
Part of, the proposal is for them to get a dumpster. We've got some old chairs, we've got some different things in there. I think that we can salvage a lot of the, office walls and different things. But I think with some of the chairs and maybe some of there's furniture that has been moved out there from other buildings at the city. So I think to be able to just put that stuff in a dumpster and move it on.
Yeah,
A lot of that furniture, the value isn't there to spend money to clean it. You'd
That's
be
true.
spending more
Yeah.
cleaning it
Yeah.
than the value of
yeah,
it.
that's
Yeah.
It's better
very
pitched.
true.
Yeah,
That would be a cost savings.
yeah, but some of the kind of cubicle walls and different things like
That are
that,
movable and such,
Yeah.
yeah.
we're probably gonna try and hold on to that and find out if there's a company that'll just come in and say, all right, we'll give you $2,000 for it and let them take it and be gone.
Yeah.
Good luck with
It's-
2,000.
200 might be closer,
Yeah,
huh? Okay.
maybe a little too optimistic, but,
I happened to go by a place today and I took a picture of it. I'll give it to you tomorrow. Up in Brooklyn Park that sells office liquidators, office furniture and so forth and so on.
Okay.
There's a place at Hutchinson that does that too. If you got stuff like that, they'll come and they'll pick it up. They'll sell it. They'll take a cut. You get a cut.
yeah, yeah,
You don't even, they'll just come right to the place and load it up.
perfect, that's, I think, what we're
Yeah,
looking for.
you don't even have to
something
handle it.
Simple and clean.
Okay, is there a motion on the cleaning the TSE building?
I'll make a motion to approve the cleaning at the TSC building.
Second.
Can we just have clarification on which,
Oh,
With legacy.
legacy,
quote?
with legacy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the cleaning using Legacy and their bid for the
And-
TSC
And
building.
it was 8,200?
8,200?
8,200. Okay,
Second that.
and Cowell seconds that one. Motion by Councilmember Hattlestead, second by Councilmember Cowell to go ahead and accept the bid of Legacy cleaning for $8,200 to clean the TSE building. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
No? Okay. 4 in favor, 1 opposed. Motion passes. Right, item 18, approve deny purchase of variable frequency drive for Nussmeyer Electric for $2,700 for the wastewater treatment facility.
This is a request that was provided by Lee Ortloff for our wastewater treatment facility. The fan, or the drives that they're currently using have been experiencing difficulties. They've spent money repairing them, and it's about they're to the end of their livelihoods. So Lee is requesting that we go ahead and approve purchasing a new variable frequency drive at a cost of $2,700 from Neusmeyer Electric.
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of variable frequency drive from Neusmeyer Electric for $2,700 for the wastewater treatment facility.
I'll second it.
Motion by Councilmember Batchor, second by Councilmember Yashewski to purchase a variable frequency drive from Neusmeyer Electric in the amount of $2,700. This is for the wastewater treatment facility. Is there additional discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Item 19, review and discuss conflict of interest. This is for review and discussion, conflict of interest disclosure form.
Council members, I've provided in the council packet a conflict of interest disclosure form, which is associated with our business development public infrastructure grant. I'm looking for authorization to go ahead and allow the Mayor Nagel to go ahead and sign on behalf of the city.
And that form just simply assures them that there is no conflict of interest in any
Correct. Yep.
dealings. Okay. Do you just need a consensus on that, or do you want a motion?
You know what, let's do a motion. Why
Okay.
don't we?
I'll make the motion. Is to approve the conflict of interest disclosure form associated with the requested business development public infrastructure program.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Yashewski, second by Councilmember Hattlestead to approve the submitting or signing and submission of the interest disclosure form associated with requested business development public infrastructure program. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Item 20, approve or deny purchase of installation of 2 catch basins and 7 valve box tops from Jewel Contracting with the funding from the Maintenance Department 2018 budget. Maintenance Supervisor Weckworth, would you like to explain this? Or
Sure.
elaborate on it?
One of the catch basins
Kirby,
is,
could you come up front?
Use the
please?
mic, yeah.
Okay, so we have 2 particularly bad catch basins that need to be fixed. One is in the northeast corner of East Douglas and First Avenue. I know that's been on the list for quite a while to be repaired. And then the other one was, I don't have my paper. So the structure inside is actually starting to crumble. And around the basin as well.
Where did you say the first one was?
West Douglas and First Avenue, or is it East Douglas?
East.
Oh, okay. That would be an area.
Located on
going-
East Main and East Douglas. Is that,
No.
No,
No, that's another thing.
okay, that's what's written here.
actually, that's probably the intersection that goes back to Jim Peterson's house.
Yes,
Okay.
that one over there, if you
Okay.
guys would drive past that, take a look, it's in really tough shape, and I remember when I first got on board, Tony Voigt, previous maintenance supervisor, was looking at that one pretty closely and keeping an eye on it, and it was on his list to get repaired shortly. Hasn't been done yet, really should be done. And going around and looking at it with the contractors, they too agreed it's in pretty rough shape.
Okay,
It's
could you,
basically collapsing upon itself.
could you describe where the other one is?
The other one is at the end of Main Street,
Yep.
in the intersection
Okay,
on the northwest corner,
yep,
the intersection East Main and County
Fourth
Road
Avenue.
4th Avenue.
County Road 17?
Yep, yep,
Okay, that'd be at the four-way stop.
yeah. That one is an absolute. I think they're both absolutes. Got to be done. I had more on the list, but then I found out other things might happen down the road in certain areas of town, so I
Mhm.
backed off of some of those.
Okay.
But
And then we saved a bunch of money in the seal coating, so I'm sure this will fall within the budget.
right, and that's the caveat is we were recommended to not have to do a seal coating this year by our city engineer, who says our roads are in that area we're going to do it are in really good shape. So we have some monies there to do more of these, smaller infrastructure repairs. So my hopes was to be able to get some of that.
Yeah, they aren't gonna
Accomplished
get
this
that on
year?
their own.
No, they're not, and just by plain sight, you can tell they're in really rough shape.
Then the valve casings, where are those located?
There was a map up. Is that map still
Yeah.
available?
It is.
I don't remember off the top of my head all where
There
all
are quite
seven are.
quite a
Yeah,
number
there
of
is.
them, actually.
Yep, and they're all
Frenzel Drive.
really busted up.
Circle.
Some
Oh, I
of them.
see, okay,
There's even more that me and Mike, I think, can repair ourselves with a giant
okay.
man-made, shop-made wrench. We can spin out the castings and replace a couple ourselves.
Okay.
But these are busted up so badly that they gotta actually be dug out of the road to be repaired.
Okay. And those get caught by snowplows?
Those are the round, yep,
Yeah.
when people see the round, little covers in the road, that's
Sure.
what I'm talking about there. They call them valve boxes, even though they're circular. That's how they shut off the water to buildings from the streets.
Ken, looks like you have a quote from Jewel for $94.25.
Yep,
And then the other quote is from Litzow.
yes,
And is that one total $11,455?
yes.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve installation of 2 catch basins and 7 valve box stops from Jewel contracted.
Second.
Michelle, is that by Joel? Did you say?
By Jewel.
Okay.
Yeah. Motion by Councilmember Batchor, second by Councilmember Cowell to accept the bid of Jewel Contracting for 2 catch basins and 7 gate valves or valve boxes, gate valve boxes. And the cost of $9,425. Questions on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
I,
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Item 21, approve or deny from $1,150 from Litzow. So,
That's the one that I would like to just quickly share with you. I handled another bid as well with that. That was, so Litzow, I talked with him after seeing that I handed in for 1 manhole. I wanted to, he said double the price. So that'd be $2,300.
okay.
And the other bid I had was for $3,400, and it's a different kind of rebuild for these manholes. The company is called Mr. Manhole, and they specialize in rebuilding. Essentially, I have a pamphlet, I don't know if you guys want to look at it, but they have a tool that they're able to cut out around the manhole, take out everything, all that whole chunk around it. They fill it back in with cement and rebar every foot or every 6 inches? I forget what that was, but they put rebar in that cement. It's guaranteed a flat fix every time. Essentially, the difference is that rebar and the cement as opposed to using the 2-inch cement rings that Litzau would bring in, and then you gotta mortar those, you gotta seal it up with mortar. And I think the sell on this fix, though it'll be a bit more expensive, is, well, for one, it's drivable within 24 hours they get in. According to them, each fix takes an hour. It's guaranteed flat with the road, and it's supposed to be a sturdier fix and last longer because it's the cement and the rebar. And being that we had maybe a little more flexibility because we weren't doing a seal coat, I wanted to throw that at you guys. It will cost a little more. For these 2 manholes with Litzau, it'd be $2,300, but then we also gotta hot patch it, so that's gonna add a little money to it.
Oh,
And you're not waiting around for the hot patching to come in if that's not coordinated like that. That fix is done and drivable in a day,
and what was the cost on that one?
$3,400
For the two?
Yep, and
For
I
the
think
two.
with the
About
Litzau
50%.
fix, it's 23, it might be 25 at the end after
After
your
the
hot
hot
patch
patch.
and everything. But like I said, I think his sell was you're getting a lot better fix that's gonna last longer. To me, it sounds really interesting.
Kirby, do you have money in your budget to spend a little bit more maybe and try it out on too? And see how
That's
it
what I was
goes,
hoping
and
this
then-
year was, I'm not looking to do every manhole like
but I
this,
mean,
but I
just to
thought
do
in
a
high
couple-
traffic areas, maybe this would be a nice fix.
Try it and see if it works. I mean, sometimes, we like to, stay under budget.
Absolutely,
But
yeah.
sometimes we spend a little bit more up front and it lasts twice as long.
And that's what
And with-
why I feel good
with the
about this,
extra
I
money,
guess,
that makes
is
sense.
it's a better fix. You pay a little more for it, but
And that was,
they do work around, I mean, he's doing some in Hutch, he's done some in some smaller towns out west. I haven't reached out personally to talk with them, but he says they're happy with it. He's trying to sell his product, but it looks interesting. I want to share it with you guys, and the 2 I want to get done are around the community center here. They're 6
Right.
inches below the surface of the road, and they're in dire need of
So we're looking at
Something
about
being done.
$900 more to go with the new one.
probably the new 2.
Yeah, for $900, yeah, I'd be kinda
$450
interested
more a piece.
Trying something that might be better or last
last
longer
longer.
You-
and
Yep.
can get repaired sooner with the traffic. I-
So are these sanitary sewer manholes? or
Yeah, those are
stormwater?
sanitary. Yep, and they're
I like to think about less infiltration.
that too. Yeah.
So
Less-
that's the bid we're looking at here, about one of them on Shamrock at 1,700 and one at Elgin at 2,700.
yes. Yep.
So that would be 340,
34.
4,400.
But he cut us a deal. He said, are you
Oh,
looking at
that's right,
his
yep, and they
bid?
said take off,
3,400.
okay, yep. Discount these 2 from 42 to 34, you're right. Okay,
I'll make a motion to approve Floor Coat Midwest for the manhole repair for a cost of $3,400 for the Shamrock and Mary intersection and Elgin and 4th Avenue Northwest.
I will second that.
So, 21 or 9.
okay, motion made by Councilmember Batchor, second by Councilmember Hattlestead to accept the bid of Floor Coat Midwest to do repair on the manholes, Mary and Shamrock Drive intersection, as well as West Elgin Street and 4th Avenue Northwest at a cost of $3,400. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Item 22, approve or deny installation of drain tile at the north side of Sheila and Shamrock Drive by Litzau Excavating for $1,600.
Go ahead, Kirby.
Do you guys like
I'll
some
let
background on that too? I
Yes, please.
suppose? Okay.
Please.
This was brought to our attention back when Liza Donabauer was still here, by Mark Polly at the DAC. Is that Mary, that's Mary Street, that dead ends right there? Sheila, sorry.
Oh, over here.
His concern was the water pools and puddles so badly over there that the driveway there, which is actually, some of it is our curb, is, the water sits, and his driveway is always wet, and it's kinda starting to corrode the driveway. And he wants to fix that apron, but he doesn't wanna do it when there's always water standing there. So he had come to us asking if there was a solution, since the water is essentially pooling there because of our dead end road. The city's road is dead ended. So I went out and got a bid. I looked at it with a couple of different people, and they thought tiling, a field tile in the corner of the, it'd be on the east side of that corner where the road ends, and you could tie into another tile that's, I think it was 150 feet to the north. 6-inch tile. So he tile 150 feet, get it installed and everything to keep that drained. So I went out and got a bid for that. And
Okay.
there it is.
So who that's a private tile that's out there that you'd hook into? Private tile by
I think that's the city property yet, so I don't know if that's been.
Okay, I'm just cautioning, if it's a private tile, you have to get permission to hook into it.
Right.
It's-
That's
I don't
a
know.
great question.
You know,
I guess I was assuming, since it's in, looks like on the map, that's the city that goes back there.
Didn't we approximately 8 or 9 months ago have a discussion about probably that street and one down there by the DAC or whatever with water standing? And I'm trying to think, I don't remember, did Dave Hennis come to the council?
Mhm.
And I
He
think
did.
we had a special meeting on that. I think,
We
Jim,
did.
you were there. And yes, the question was who owned that property? And I thought over here that if I remember correctly, that I'm thinking that title might belong to property owner.
Okay.
Because I think this, wasn't the discussion at that time when we looked down where the electrical boxes were?
Yeah, I
That the property line, even though there's grass, was part of his property?
Where the electrical and the phone line boxes were on that north, would be the south end of the property.
Correct.
The north end of the
street.
residential areas.
Yeah.
That looked like there was another 20, 30 feet of
Grass
grass.
yet that they
into the
weren't plowing
field.
up, that was
Right.
actually field. So that's why I'm wondering if it's 150 feet out. I'm gonna guess that's probably, if Mr. Hennis still owns it, probably his.
Okay.
Because we didn't fix it at that, I think he wanted us to address that problem. And I can't remember if, was it because we figured the way it was plowed, the water was coming in there? I know he has a serious issue over there, when it rains, it's a mess.
I know there's some gravel hauled in, if that's the
Yes.
same,
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
2 of them, one here and one down by the,
By the
home.
group home.
Right, that was the other bad spot, those 2 spots. And we did-
right,
I don't think we covered any cost of anything on that, did we?
No,
no.
we
Because
didn't
I
do
think we
it. There was-
determined it was not a city, well,
That's
it is
right.
an issue, but
Yeah.
probably
Well,
not
now
at
they
that
aren't
time.
using, the field, whoever's renting that field is not using that access. They're coming out on West Seventh
Yes,
or Seventh Northwest and carrying all the mud into my neighborhood.
better your neighborhood than mine.
I'll make a motion that we table this
My
and
neighborhood,
find
yeah.
out some more information about where the property line lies and
Yeah.
whose property it is,
That's
whose
true.
property the tile it is, and then come back and see what we can do about it.
Could I suggest, I should have done this before I even came this far. Regrading that, trying to build a swale, put some gravel in there, and see if that wouldn't alleviate at least the ponding in his driveway.
Which one are we talking? Down here, over here?
In front of the DAC. I mean, I understand the complaint. I mean, the water is pooled essentially in our curb. And that's their driveway. And he wants to repair that apron. You know, he'd cover the cost for that. So I think his idea was to ask us to try to take care of the pooling there. So I get that too. But
Well,
maybe
if
there's a,
greater work that you can do to
I
try
want,
and
yeah, I wonder if I can't try
alleviate
to
it, then-
build a swale or whatever.
But where's
we
the
can
water
do
gonna
with it.
run to then?
Hopefully
Because if
towards
it
that
runs out
tile.
in the field, then we're probably gonna run up into a problem with the
Yeah.
landowner or his renter.
To me, the idea was somehow, looks like, to get the water to run naturally towards, that way towards the creek. And that's why that tile is there. But, yeah, I guess if that's
Well,
private.
there's been a motion to table it, let's table it and, come back after a little more investigation there. Is there a second on the motion to table?
I'll second it.
Okay, Councilmember Batchor moved to table the drainage issue, Sheila and Shamrock Drive. And that was seconded by Councilmember Hattlestead. Any further questions?
No.
Discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
There's one more.
What? Yeah, one more.
Yep, you got-
Okay, number 23, approve deny paver project on Main Street by Truckee Construction for $11,000 of funding from the 2018 maintenance budget. Go ahead.
Okay, so, this has been an issue too for a couple of years, I think. And it's getting worse after every snow season. Our uptown pavers that run up and down Main Street on the sidewalks are starting to show quite a bit of trip hazards. They're really settling bad in spots. So this is the bid to get that repaired, to take care of those trip hazards before anything bad happens to anybody. Yeah, I guess that's what it is.
They're just gonna do spot areas where it's,
Me
an
and,
inch-
when Steve came to look at it with me, we measured out approximately 1,200 feet. Due to the nature of the work being, you can't just sometimes stop dead in an area.
Yeah,
You're still gonna have to level, taper out and
Right,
do some
right.
leveling. It might end up a little more than that, but we went on the higher side of what we measured a little bit. Anyways, came up with that. He's gonna repair a couple of the ped ramps too, that are also bricked. And, yeah, I guess whatever needs.
So you
needs
pretty much went up and
attention along
down the entire Main Street.
there. Up
looking
and
on
down,
both
there's
sides.
stretches up and down, yeah, that
Yeah, okay,
are in bad need of attention.
okay. So
How,
it's,
how often does that have to be done? Have you seen it?
This is the first time I've
I don't
seen
think
it
anything ever has. I don't
4
think
years.
they've ever been pulled out in
No,
recent
I
years.
think-
Oh, I
Yeah,
was told
something's
it's been
done
at least,
before.
I get varying reports, but it's at least once or twice
Oh, really?
So
since
Okay.
they've done it. And when did they do that? Early 90s?
81,
Oh, 81.
no,
Okay,
it wasn't 81, 89.
89. Okay.
89.
Part
That's
of
when they did the Main Street project and put it in initially.
Okay. I almost think, if I remember right, Steve Truck, he did it once already? Is that true? He did all of
I don't-
up and down?
Didn't
Okay.
the Carpenter Boys?
I don't want to say for sure or not, but from asking around,
So at least two, and this would be our third time, and if we kinda average that, that's $30,000 we've already stuck into re-leveling it.
and it was in the
How
talks to potentially concrete it.
Well, I mean, we
Stamp
could do, I know that it adds a decorative touch and it makes it, but we can get colored concrete with stamps.
Yeah, they could stamp it.
Absolutely, I don't know what kind of cost that would be.
That was gonna be, this was our cheapest route to reset it
Right, one time.
one time. The stamping, you get your issues too with chipping. You get bad chipping, especially if you're maintaining with a skid steer on it, with snow removal and stuff like that. But, I mean, to me, the stamped concrete down by the railroad track has held up really well. I
Stamped
think what
concrete or just
happened in
colored
this
concrete to make
case,
that.
what happened was, we have some trip hazards that are, I mean, it's basically, it's gotta get done. And I think this was kind of where the discussion landed, when the discussion happened was, well, let's repair it this time and then consider next time doing something else more long-term.
wonder if we'd look back in the original plans and specs for that, because if I remember, I was officing in downtown Arlington at that time, and I remember the talk was, if they put bricks in, the wiring for the streetlights run underneath those bricks, so if they ever had any wiring problem, or had to do any wiring, they just pull the bricks up and do it. Once you cement it, then all your wiring's underneath the cement.
Then
So
you get a jackhammer and
yeah, and I don't know how good the wiring is after this many years. But I'd hate to cover it up and then find out it's not very good.
Well, there is that, yeah, the brick is a lot easier to
Yeah.
pull
So-
up wherever you gotta pull it up.
And like I
and
say,
put it
maybe
back in. But-
I just remember that was one of the reasons why they wanted to go with the brick, is so they would have access to the
Okay.
wires.
And I think you might be right about that, cause I had to get a post pounded up there not too long ago for the DAC. And when it got marked to get the post pounded, that was
There was
one of the
electrical underneath
deals,
there.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's something to consider before we go ahead and cement.
Yeah, that would be a big reason.
Right.
I would like to see the cost of concreting it. I mean, see how old the wires are and stuff like that, but, I mean, buried wires tend to last quite a long time.
The minute
And
we
if that
put
was done at the same time as this stuff, and we've already stuck
Yeah,
30,000 into it,
streetlights were,
or we're about to stick another 10, 11 into it. I mean, and you know that in the next, how many years or somebody's gonna end up paying another 10, 15 each time.
I remember seeing the guys working on them since I've been here, and it's probably at least 5 years, if not 10 or 12 years ago that it was done.
Since they did it last.
Well, if we can look back and see.
So that's
I mean, I would just-
$1,000 a year.
I would be, when they mentioned the I would be so afraid to concrete over that. And then.
You what?
I would be afraid to concrete over it and make it permanent and then have to bust it out for wiring.
Especially if you're gonna make it decorative.
Yes, now you spent the money to make it decorative and now he's gonna bust it out. Cause sooner or later you are going to bust it out. Might be 30 years, might be 2 years, you know, nobody knows that number.
Well, here's the deal.
But we gotta do something about before someone trips and falls too.
Right.
I make a motion that we approve the paver project on Main Street by Truckee Construction for $11,000 with funding from the 2018 maintenance budget.
is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Highland, second by Councilmember Cowell, to approve the paver project on Main Street by Truckee Construction for $11,000. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion's carried. Item 23, approve or deny County of Sibley, City of Arlington routine maintenance agreement.
Kirby, if you want, you can certainly talk about this one too, since you seem to be the guy on the hot seat. This is a maintenance agreement with Sibley County for Highway 17 from County Road 166, Freedom Drive to State Highway 5, a total distance of .74 miles.
Okay,
Estimated value of $5,300.51.
If I recollect, this is probably the same
Yeah.
agreement as has been in the past, it's just the dollar amount changed for the most part.
I'll make a motion to approve the, County of Sibley and City of Arlington route maintenance agreement for maintenance on, 17 from Freedom Drive to State Highway 5.
Second.
Okay, motion by Councilmember Batchor, second by Councilmember Cowell to approve the City of Arlington routine maintenance agreement for maintenance on County State Aid Highway 17 from Freedom Drive to State Highway 5. And the amount of, agreement amount is $5,351. Any discussion? Questions about the agreement? again, I,
So that's
Go
some new
ahead.
language to me, is that, I mean, that's just a cost share to maintain the road.
yeah, they're
Okay.
telling, I think if you look through it, they tell you what they're doing, they tell you what you need to do, and then there's a dollar exchange based
Okay.
on that.
Okay,
So I don't think anything great is changing, I think, although I noticed, I think if I read this correctly, and I know there's the snow plows that come past in 17, they're plowing snow, but yet it says it's the city's responsibility to plow the snow on County 17.
They plow on Freedom Drive, they plow on
Yeah,
17.
because that's the route they take to get out of town,
Yeah.
so they just lower the blade,
Yeah.
so, to our benefit. Any further questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. And then, same type of an agreement, but for a different, county road, county,
I'll make a motion to approve.
can I read it first?
Well, I'll read it for you, huh? County of Sibley and the City of Arlington routine maintenance agreement for maintenance on Highway number 34 from 411th Avenue to County Road 17, 4th Avenue Northeast.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Batchor, second by Councilmember Hattlestead to approve the, agreement, routine maintenance agreement for maintenance on Highway number 34, for County State Aid Highway 9 to County State Aid, number 17. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Item number 25, review Arlington.
Excuse myself for 1 minute,
Yep,
maybe 2 minutes.
2 minutes, okay. We will wait till
Fine, we'll take a break.
Councilmember comes back. Should we take a break? Maybe that's why Member Batchor is hurrying up.
It's almost 9 o'clock, the grocery store's gonna be closed pretty soon.
Jen and I are going to the park.
I have to go there as well.
Gosh.
We'll be back 45 minutes.
Okay, we'll take just a brief recess here. This is a long agenda. You done good?
Even my computer shut down. The computer doesn't wanna work anymore. My battery's been zapped.
Mhm.
I'll run and grab
Just take a break,
Did he shut off the recorder?
You awake back there, Kurt?
Did you turn off the recorder or no?
You're gonna break the open meeting law. I left the recorder going.
No, Ross,
Just FYI. You want it off?
No, it's fine.
now will they break the open meeting law in the men's bathroom?
You're right.
There's a 3 in there.
Well, I'm not going in there, I'm not violating it.
Might be a first in Arlington.
You know, I see people in the hallway, they're not all in the bathroom at the same time.
I was a little puzzled by a recent case, I didn't, see all the details, but the Supreme Court decided not to sanction some city that apparently clearly violated the open meeting law 36 times.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
and the Supreme Court said that, they were gonna sanction the council. I don't know what the reason was.
Yeah. Oh. Wow, 36, huh?
Can't remember which city it was, this is in Minnesota.
Really?
Saw in the Minneapolis paper a while back.
So they just didn't care about the law then, violated that maybe.
Well, I don't know, it must have been, I don't know why the
Unless
court
it was
was.
stringing emails or something.
It might have
I
been
can
some
see.
strange situation, I don't know.
Cause I can see something, like, you know, I mean, not that I do, I'm very cautious, but.
No business was talked about at the urinals, you just want to
Kurt was questioning that.
We gave you the business.
for recording?
Yes.
All right, item 25, review Arlington Economic Development Director Amy Newsom's hours through June.
Council members, just wanted to let you know where we are with Amy Newsom, who is our contract EDA director for 2018. She's been putting in quite a bit of time, which I think shows in that we have Kazi looking to come to Arlington. And so with that said, Roxy Traxler, the Sibley County Administrator, has contacted me inquiring about our interest in continuing the contract for 2019, and if we are looking to add any additional hours. Based on that, she did provide a page that documented through the end of June the number of hours that Amy has spent on Arlington. In the agreement that we signed with Sibley, she was allocated basically 8 hours a week, and as you can see on the middle column there, her actual hours have exceeded that. At 243 actual hours in 2018 compared to the 208 hours that we were allocated. So looking for some direction from you, the council, in terms of what we want to look for in 2019, given the hours that she has been putting in.
I guess it's a good thing our hours are up, because positive things are happening. Will the county extend the 18 agreement to 19 at 8 hours, or do they wanna bump it up? Or what is?
They're asking us if I think if we want to increase it, I think they would take that into consideration and try and accommodate that.
Because I don't know that we ever know what our hours are going to be.
All right.
True.
If
Do they have-
another company like Ninkasi comes along, the next 6 months, we could go over, 2-3 hours a week for weeks at a time, and if nothing's happening, well, we're back to our 8 hours.
I mean, do they have a
Surely don't wanna
problem
lose her.
with the way it is now? I mean, it's been over the course of however long that's been, we're 40 hours over. I mean,
That's not a big.
deal. I mean, I think if we just kept it, if the county's okay, if we kept it the way it is, and
And
if
then
it's
just pay for
busier-
the additional hours at the
Right.
$40. Yeah,
Yeah.
it seems like 8 is a good baseline if you look back early, through some of the slow times, she held it at 8, and that's exactly
Or
what.
4.
Yeah, you can see when
She even went
Ninkasi
down.
appeared, the hours went up naturally.
Mhm.
So if they were willing to go with the agreement we have now, I don't have a problem with it.
Right.
Okay, and then pay for any additional hours above and beyond
Right,
that
at
at the
that rate.
$40 an hour
Yep,
rate
Yep,
stipulated in our
We
contract.
definitely don't wanna lose her.
As
No,
long as
no,
it just
you
doesn't
do
all of a
way
sudden
too
go
good
off the
job.
edge of the scale,
Mhm.
that's, or unless, well, so we have 5 businesses that wanna
Well,
come to
that's
town.
right.
Yeah.
we could be so fortunate.
We are, we will.
Yeah, yeah.
We have had 5 in the last 2 years, about 5 that did come. Start adding them up, dollar store and the diesel place and the new plant and Northland Drying and
The dry
potentially
cleaning
Ninkasi. There's 5 right there.
Dry cleaning building with,
Yeah, that furniture or whatever they,
what's in there?
Occasional sales.
Oh, yeah,
Jeff Yonke in my old building.
Yep.
that's right.
I mean, we have things happening. There's positive things happening.
Okay, with that discussion in mind, would someone care to introduce the resolution?
I'll make a
There-
motion.
Actually, there is no resolution.
There is no
It was-
resolution?
No, what I provided was a copy of the resolution
Oh.
from 2017 that we approved.
Okay,
To lay out what the rate
Okay.
per hour is and what the agreement was. So I'm just looking for a verbal.
A verbal,
Which I've
yep.
received, so
sure,
thank you.
okay.
I will
Good
relay
enough.
that to Sibley County.
Keep going,
Keep
keep it
going.
going.
Okay, item 26, discussion about the administrative assistant position, which we talked about earlier in the workshop session, so that is open for discussion right now.
As far as I'm concerned, I'm fine with what Adam had mentioned, going with the 32 hour per week and the benefits with the part-time position. At least through the end of this year, and that gives us time to
Okay.
maybe budget something differently for 19 and see how that new employee potentially works out.
Put that in the form of a motion, Mr.
What
Edelstein.
I would make a motion that we stay with our 32 hour per week administrative assistant position with benefits and extend that through the end of this year with it possibly becoming full-time in 2019, which then gives us time to work it out in our budget for 2019.
Can I add one word in there?
Yes,
Prorated benefits?
Yes.
and I'd like to add prorated benefits.
I'd second that.
Okay. And then you will draft a advertisement for,
Based on that.
based on that. Okay?
What happens if we get no applications?
And you're gonna be the administrative assistant.
We will, with the addition of benefits, I believe we will.
Okay, there's a motion on the table then, made by Hattlestead, second by Highland. You've heard it. I'm not able to repeat it word for word, but basically it authorizes advertising for the position at 32 hours a week with prorated benefits. Any more discussion on that motion? Any comments on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. All right, council member committee updates.
Go community center meeting, like Kirby kinda mentioned, there's lots of most of them are fairly minor issues, and I mean, it's getting close to a 20-year-old building. Probably the biggest issue is out the doors out the main room. The patio is sinking, so that needs to be jacked up. That's probably the biggest issue that we have. Otherwise, the kitchen cabinets probably could be replaced. There's a door on the stage that needs replaced. I think our last payment's coming up next year, so maybe we should consider like a maintenance type fund to keep the building going. There's a planter that's the brick is falling away from by the sign. We talked a lot about how to market the building, which some of the stuff was in there. Kirby brought up a little bit about maybe trying to find some other ways to set up the building rather than use city staff. And then I don't know if he's got to it, but there's a smell in the freezer from the fish boil still. Pretty strong, actually really strong, so that might be something we have to consider in the future, maybe not letting them use that anymore.
Plus trying to get it cleaned up.
Plus trying to
so
get
it
it
doesn't
cleaned.
smell anymore.
Yeah, I mean, that was in February and it still smells now. And then they trying to possibly find some space for a nursing room for mothers nursing
Yeah.
babies.
But it is legal anywhere,
What's that?
nursing.
Well, you can do it wherever, but yeah, you
A
can't.
comfy chair
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
with a little
Oh,
foot.
you can't make it.
footrest would be nice.
You can't make a nursing room in the bathroom.
No,
I mean, if you make a nursing room, you
Right.
have to make a room.
have a privacy room for
Yes.
them.
They don't have to be out in in private. My wife and I were listening to a radio program, it was with one of the legislators, and the nursing mother has all the rights, can do it anywhere she feels appropriate, not in storage areas or.
Right, but there's
But
some people that
of them
don't
might
want
want some privacy.
Right.
Yeah.
And Annie has said
But
she's
they
had
don't
quite a
have to.
few
No.
requests for it over time, so something to look into in the future.
Okay, any other
And
committee reports? Yeah, I think you hit most of the larger items.
the hospital had its annual, meeting between Ridgeview Sibley, Ridgeview LeSueur, back on Monday, this 23rd of July. They met at the new facility in Belle Plaine. Wow, what a place. They've got a coffee shop, a nice, and just a nice therapy building. Very, very nice. If you have a chance to go check it out, it's really, and they're proud to show it off. There was a welcoming by the new CEO, Mike Phelps. Many of you know him. All excited about things that are happening. The biggest information given to us was about Epic, which is an electronic email or communication system, and they're probably going to be teaming up with Alina. We assume that the hospitals are communicate as comfortably as we do email, but they have a privacy, the HIPAA laws that they have to be concerned about, and they are challenged to keep that privacy issue in check all the time, and Alina will work with combining the big system. They're used to working with big, they'll be able to mother the Ridgeview system and make it work. And then they talked about how they're doing well in the markets and what they're investing in and so on. And that's been very successful for them as well. Then the next evening, the 23rd, 24th, was the regular quarterly meeting at Ridgeview Sibley, and their the updates over the past year. They had the stabilization of the clinic provider team and have improved access significantly. They increased the group of providers by 5 doc MDs, 1 PA, and 4 natural or NP nurses seeing patients. They were approximately staffed to backfill the upcoming 1 to 2 year retirements that are positioned to increase, and this will increase access to volumes as we continue to build our direct to employer relationships in the Southwest market. And that's just the, LeSueur, Arlington, and all the, it's hospital and clinics. Moving on to the project, the exterior brick installation has been completed and contractors are working on window installation. Metal panels installation has started and will continue over the next few weeks. Contractors have moved the helipad north half of the parking lot and have completed demolition of both areas. Rough grading has started and will be followed by the installation of storm sewer piping, final grading, the paving work. The north half of the parking lot is on track for mid-August completion, while work will then shift to the south half of the parking lot. The interior of the hospital contractors have completed framing and mechanical, electrical rough in, of the first phase of the lower level lab and clean storage. And they're nearly completed with the gypsum board. Installation team is working to open the new lab to the lower level before Labor Day. On the upper level, the contractors have completed framing, currently continued mechanical and electrical roughing along with start of gypsum board installation. Team's been addressing challenges with the existing building as they have identified and continue to look ahead to future areas to keep the project moving through each phase. They ran into asbestos and some structural things. It's so old that they had a few surprises, and it's gonna cost them a little extra. And like I said, they're gonna pair with Lions. And remember, you matter here.
All right, thank you, Ben. Any other committee updates? Hearing none, motion is in order to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Hattlestead, second by Councilmember Highland to adjourn the meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Meeting adjourned at 8:54.
Those H's get in your way, don't they, Mayor?
Yeah, they do. Yes,
I will be unavailable till September 3rd.
Hattlestead and Highland.
All right, good for you. You enjoy that trip.
You're going to Turkey, huh?
Turkey.
Wow, exotic.
Yes.
I hear it's a beautiful country.
Who's going to Turkey?
Yee, the turkey is.
Turkey.
So Turkey's going to Turkey.
Yeah,
Well, you have a good trip. When do you leave?
Friday.
Friday?
Wow.
All right.
Right,
Have a
enjoy.
wonderful time.
Travel safe.
I hope so.
Look for the school building that I painted in 1962 when I was there in the Navy. It was just outside of Istanbul.
We're outside, it's an hour and a half air flight, 4-hour drive. Izmir, not too far
It
from
couldn't have been too far out of Istanbul because
southwest.
they bust us there.
Was that during a late night drunken episode?
No, it was actually.
Oh, you actually were supposed to paint it?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought maybe.
See ya, Kurt.
Good night.
Thanks for coming.
The buildings were like kind of a stucco plaster, and we started putting the paint on, it rolled right up on the rollers.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
God, it was a mess.
So, needless to say, it must have been sort of water-based.
Does it say Jim was here?
Jim was
I hope not, I'm not proud of that one. But I did get my picture in the Star and Tribune.
Does this go up electrically?
Nope.
Manual.
Pull and, yep,
Pull and release, I get
pull and release. Catch and release, pull and release.
Well, I've gotta give, Ben his promotion here tonight. And Jim his demotion.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh,
Should've waited for Jim to leave.
Yeah, I should've.
now I feel bad.
Pat, what would you like this council resolution minute book?
You know what, I'll take it and put it in the office, so you can just leave it right there, Ben.
There we go.
That's fine.
It's been duly done.
Oh.
Wow.
It's a sigh of relief not being vice chair anymore, isn't it, Jim?
Yeah, wow. Took a load off your
You're
shoulder.
not gonna collect my card, are you? I use that a lot when I'm out.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm the vice mayor of Arlington.
Yeah.
You wanna talk about power?